The Monarque is an exotic energy bow that comes from completing powerful weapon frames in any forge. Its main perk, Poison Arrows, causes arrows that are fired quickly after a full draw to become poisonous. Precision hits with these arrows will spread poison to nearby enemies. It also has snapshot sights. Let's get into the Poison Arrows perk since there's a lot of stuff going on with it. First off, it involves the perfect draw mechanic that is inherent on all bows. A perfect draw is active for a brief moment right after you have fully drawn the bow. If you release the arrow during this time, you'll get a small damage boost on that shot. Normally, you just have to know this by feel, but the sights on the Monarque actually show you when a perfect draw is active. The yellow portion of the reticle will light up brighter to show this. Once the time is passed, it fades to the normal sights. There is also a sound cue to let you know that you fired a perfect draw shot. So, now that you've been educated about perfect draws, let's get into the actual poison arrows. When you have that perfect draw active, landing your shot will put a damage over time effect on the target. However, if that shot lands as precision, then it should also spread the poison from the arrow to nearby enemies as well. Think of it as a slower version of Firefly, but on hits and kills. Just to be completely clear, this damage effect will only work during a perfect draw. If you hold the arrow too long, then you'll have a normal shot with nothing special. Now, how does this perform in PvE? Well, it has some pretty wild power swings. If there are lots of enemies grouped up and you can actually land your shots correctly, then you will mow through fields of enemies. The poison effect adds a large damage bump to help chew through some of the beefier enemies. At its best, it's something that provides a twist on the typical bow play and deals some surprisingly hefty damage. However, at its worst, it's an exotic subtle calamity with snapshot sights and nothing else. If you're not able to nail those perfect shots or just keep hitting non-precision shots on groups of enemies, then you're going to be wishing you had a different weapon equipped. Human error aside, the bow also has some really weird problems with its Poison Arrows perk. You have to wait for the sights to light up to register the poison effect. On many occasions, I fully drew the bow and released the arrow and got the perfect sound, but the poison effect did not actually apply. Once I started waiting a few more frames for the sights to light up, then the poison effect would be reliably applied. Objectively, Le Monarque is a rough weapon to come to conclusions about. It has incredible potential to deal single target and area of effect damage, and none of this actually requires landing a kill. Trinity Ghoul, or a bow with Dragonfly, has a much more immediate reaction for that area of effect damage, but those require precision kills. The big determining factor here is how adept you can get at the perfect draw feature. That's the hill that this bow will live and die on. If you can get used to the timing, then I believe this is actually a solid bow for use in most PvE activities. With various legendary special weapons and a machine gun in the heavy, you can have a decent loadout that doesn't leave you at a major disadvantage power level wise. However, if you can't get used to the perfect draw, then don't waste your time. So in a roundabout way, I guess the big question is actually, is this bow worth learning the perfect draw timing? For PvE, in my opinion, absolutely yes. Now let's quickly go over this weapon in Gambit. The void damage that this bow brings can come in clutch during the Primeval phase. The Envoys, which you should be killing first because that increases your damage to the Primeval by allowing you to get the Primeval Slayer buff. Yes, the Envoys have void shields, which this bow shreds through. In addition, when the Primeval spawns in, so do a ton of smaller adds. These can sometimes be a little bit pesky to deal with, so a few well-placed perfect precision draws will take them out with the Poison Cloud effect. For the actual game mode, the poison effect deals its damage slowly, so it can't be relied upon to help mow through waves alone. Since this effect damages things slowly, it is worth noting that it can sometimes stagger enemies, which will limit some of the incoming damage you and your team will take. So, there's still benefit, but in practice, weapons with Dragonfly make this process a lot easier. The effective range of the bow is also a little bit low. I only bring this up because Gambit maps are pretty large, so you'll find yourself having to get in a little bit closer than you will with other bows just to start reliably landing those precision hits on mobs. If you find yourself facing an invader across the map, I hope you have a sniper or long-range heavy equipped because this bow is really only going to be reliable in the medium to close range. Final verdict for Gambit is that you can use it if you want to, but there are better options out there, especially for your exotic slot. Now in PvP, I feel like I can stand my ground and say Le Monarque is a wonderful addition to many playstyles and loadouts. Outside of ultra competitive lobbies, this bow will be the bane of many people due to its high precision damage, dot effect that can spread, and more importantly, its potential to one-shot. I don't like leading with something like that, but it definitely needs to be noted here. Warlocks in Empowering or Greater Rifts, or Titans with Inertia slide buff active can one-shot people with a precision perfect draw. I was able to do this with very little practice time on the bow. Also, while hunters do not have access to a one-shot mechanic, they do have Oathkeeper exotic gloves. With these on, you can hold the arrow at perfect draw forever, so you'll always be able to land that poison shot. It's not as flashy as one-shotting people, but it also takes out the timing portion to make damage easier. It is worth noting that the damage over time effect also works with the 1000 Cuts spec to allow your class ability to regenerate faster. Outside of those situations though, Le Monarque actually performs extremely well. A precision shot deals 150 damage plus the dot effect, so enemy players will be pretty weak and can die from basically anything at that point. Having snapshot sights in PvP is also really nice since you'll be scoping and descoping constantly to view that all-important radar. The poison effect is also really great for tracking people through walls. If your target tries to run away, then you'll have a heads up on if they decide to get into a sight line so you can finish them off. The only real downsides I've found to the bow is actually kind of related to lag. If you're going up against a laggy player, they just won't take poison damage. I know I wasn't mistiming my draws because I was using Oathkeepers, and other people that have the bow have also confirmed this. Aside from this issue, the bow is also a little bit inconsistent at the longer ranges, so you'll have to just remember to move in a little bit closer if you keep finding that your shots aren't landing when you thought they were right on. You have quite a few options for pairing with this bow too for PvP. Personally, I'm always partial to a shotgun since you need something to compete in those close range engagements. However, if you really want to be cheeky, you can pair a quick draw open shot hand cannon with this and just pop someone after you land a shot. Truly depraved individuals should try a kinetic grenade launcher since you can see exactly where people will be due to the dot effect, and you can just ricochet a grenade to them. So to sum things up, Le Monarque is a weapon that will live and die by your own ability to land perfect draws. If you can, then you have a powerful effect that can be used in just about every activity to great success. It is absolutely worth it to learn the timing of the draw on this weapon. However, if this doesn't interest you, then you still have other options out there like Trinity Ghoul or various weapons with Dragonfly. Think of this as another weapon at the top of that type of playstyle's arsenal. I hope you found this review helpful. If you did, a positive rating would be appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.